The B-17 Flying Fortress remains a legend in the history of World War II. It was the bomber that struck deep into occupied Europe in daylight, taking on the might of the Luftwaffe, braving ferocious German defenses and hitting strategic targets with unparalleled precision. It was the bomber that could take massive structural damage and still manage to return home. It was the bomber that held 10 flyboys and bound them into a tough fighting unit. This is the story of the mighty 8th, the 8th Army Air Force that flew the fabled B-17G. But it is also the story of the Little Friends, the escort fighters that accompanied the bombers on their perilous missions, and that of the brave Luftwaffe pilots who attacked those massive formations in the air.
So this is B-17 Flying Fortress, the Mighty Eighth. This is one of my favourite games of all time. It was released in 2000 as a sequel to the 1992 B-17 Flying Fortress game. And as you would quite imagine, it's a B-17 simulator. And as I say, it was one of my one of my favourite games. So I thought I'd just take a little while out of my my normal regime to do a whistle-stop review of the game and what it has to offer. One of the main things I like about games from this period is with modern combat flight games is that when you start them up, it's literally just you've got a quick menu, you click next, and you're in a plane, you fly the mission, and you end. But that is just not the case in this. And it's the same in another one. One of the first games I actually played regularly in the computer was Jet Fighter Full Burn, which also does a very similar thing. It has rooms like these, and basically it gives you a chance to kind of really roleplay the game, I guess, is what I'm looking to say. And I'll take you around some of the features that it has on the ground-based level. Obviously, the main bulk of this will be about the game itself, but just before that, I think it's quite nice. So basically, this is your captain's office, and you've got various things. You can check your bomber. I've just started the campaign, so there's no missions flown, and no mechanical defects, which is nice. You can also check out your crew. The other thing I quite like is you can go outside, inspect the bombers. This is mostly for squadron mode. You can go check the different planes, see how they are. Yeah, the nose art you can select for your bomber, and you can drive back to the airbase. So yeah, it's really that one nice touch that lets you keep in touch with the people that are on your plane, and you might think it's easy enough to overlook at the start, but as you start going through the campaign, you begin to understand why it has it, and I'll get onto that a bit later. So this is the briefing room. This is where you come before you fly, and it's got a couple of nice touches. I mean, you can click your route map. So basically, the first mission is the U-boat facilities that are at Brest in France, and that's the route that you'll be taking. This I also think is quite a nice touch, is you can view the film. So that's your secondary target there on the right, and this is the primary target coming up. So basically why this is nice is it's good. It gives you a visual clue to what you're actually going for, as well as it gives you an indication of the anti-aircraft levels that you'd face. As you can see, the flak bursts all around it, which I think is quite nice. We read the mission briefing. So it's everything I've already said. So you can see our fighter escorts there. And this is quite a nice touch. To actually be able to fly the mission, you need to read it through and then sign as if you've read it, and close it over, and then the door that takes you back to the corridor is now to start the mission, which I think is quite nice. Again, it's just things that give this little personal touch to it. So now we're back in the airfield, and if I look around, we will see the rest of the squadron. because I'm doing this quite quickly, I've not set up the controls. I'm going to leave most of this flight on autopilot to talk over it. So I will start off by going inside, if I can remember the button. That's not the button. That's the button. There we go. So here's our pilots. Pilot and co-pilot, and what you can do is you can go explore the different sections. So this is the nose cone. You've got the bombardier there. You've got the navigator. Yeah, pilot again. That is the bombs that we are carrying. This is the radio room. We'll be coming back here in a second. Waist gunners and tail gunners. Waiting to begin mission. Yeah, so this is the radio operator is quite good. It keeps logs of everything that's there, and we click begin mission.
Start engines. Master switch on.
So this is the pilot now starting up.
Cowl flaps. Open left. Open right. Master switch on.
Yeah, sounds like some sound files have gone a wee bit missing. Of course, the other thing is you can take control of positions. Automatic, he's just casually staring at the horizon. I can go to manual, and I can shoot stuff up. And I'm going to choose not to, because obviously I need to save ammunition for the mission.
Taxi to runway.
So this is where it all begins. All the engines are on, and you can start heading off. I'm starting to notice a couple of rendering issues in this, so hopefully they die off sometime soon. The zoomed out view for the moment. I don't have them in game, but I can see on my second monitor that some things aren't going up. But you can see now everyone's starting to kind of get information. This is one of the things I like, is you don't see it in some of the other games that you get, more modern games. You don't have this kind of formation phase, and I quite like it. It gives you a good sense of the group and the fact that you're here with a big lot of people. I'll show you the cockpit that they've got. They've got a virtual cockpit. It's not that you can completely see everything in it, but I don't know, for 2000 I think it did quite a good job with the 3D effects. I was certainly very impressed with this game when it first came out. Navigator getting himself limbered up. It is time to fly. And there we go. We're off. Of course, you can see the game's age and its graphics, and you can also see why old games aren't fantastic for modern computers. This join formation malarkey is a very, very long process, so I am going to use skip. Oh. Yeah, this was something from the past as well. Sometimes this happens, there's arbitrary smoke whenever you use the skip function. Nothing's actually happened with the aircraft, just
Pilot, navigator. New heading is 210. Repeat, 210. Roger.
So we skip again. So yeah, it advances you by periods of 10 minutes.
Pilot, navigator. New heading is 212. Repeat, 212. Okay.
And they join up all together, and they'll come over and rejoin with you. That's what this wee tab is over here. You can keep track of everyone that's there. The reason it does show you that bar is because you can take control. That's me.
Join formation.
Yep. So yeah, you can take control of your allies. You can also take control of the Axis. So it does seem a bit of a cheat, you being able to see, because as soon as the enemy scrambles, you'll be able to see them on this. And as soon as that happens, You know, it does seem like, oh no, I know that I'm going to get intercepted by enemy planes in about however long. But the reason for it is because you can take control of them, which I think is quite a interesting conflict of interest. Is that you are this one plane that you are trying to save through the mission, and you can take control of somebody trying to kill you. I can understand the appeal in it, but it does seem to be a bit daft. I do remember when I was younger taking control of the Axis and intentionally shooting my allies. Not really playing in the spirit of the game. There we go. So yeah, we can actually see where we are in relation to the known universe. We're just above Oxford. So we've already got our P-47s up in the air. So yeah, here we go. We're now on another air base, where our second complement of friends are joining us. This is the P-37s. We've already got a squadron of P-47s up in the air. This is them coming to join us now.
In formation.
For some reason this man is rolling backwards. So yeah, this is exactly what I was talking about, is now that we're over water heading towards France. Indeed. So this is them now, heading up to intercept us. And once again, we can take control of these fantastic virtual cockpits. Actually, I poke fun of it. I actually think this is very good for 2000. Hell, I even think this is much better quality than the B-17 one. Maybe not the gun sight, mind you. I'm gonna try and find a view that this doesn't happen in. Well, there's a navigator just giving us a nice friendly mention that that's France down there. So we're not horribly lost. There we go, that's stable enough that you can see France. So here we go. We've arrived very roughly at our target. The weather hampers navigation. I mean, these aircraft do not have anything close to the modern systems that we do. So yeah, this is it. We're starting on the bomb run. Bomb doors are open. You can see our little friends in the background. Our armor-piercing bombs ready to go. And so this is it. The German fighters have desisted, and here's why. One of the worst things you could face. The flak guns. And these will tear your stuff apart. This being the first mission, this is a nice and easy flak run. This does have a difficulty scaling in, but as the game develops, you see some truly fearsome flak fields. And of course, if one of those shells hits you directly, the results are devastating. But of course, they're designed that once the shells reach a certain altitude, then what they do is they explode and send shrapnel in all directions. So even if you don't get hit, the likelihood is your aircraft is still going to get absolutely torn apart. So they have a little break. And we look like we are exactly on target for nothing. Now here we go. An even bigger flak field forming. That's what this game does well. It really conveys the kind of ominous presence that flak is. You just listen to that. God, that looks like I had two shells right in front of me. And here comes our little friends again. And the game is rendering bad. Oh, somebody's been hit. Quite hard, actually. Let's hope that doesn't happen to us. I think it might happen to us. fire extinguishers. Wise. Well, it was ominous. Let's go see what happened. So what tends to happen, and again this is actually kind of a realistic, a bit of a realistic thing, is after you, after somebody gets shot, you know, in a time like these, adrenaline is very much rushing in a real life pilot. So it's not. You sometimes, if you have a you know, well, I say a minor injury, so something is very, very serious, you might not necessarily notice it until well after the moment, and that's conveyed here. Sometimes injuries are instantly obvious, but sometimes people go quite a long way before they realise, oh, hang on, I'm bleeding, and my organs are somewhere over there, I need help. And what happens, thankfully everyone's okay just now, but sometimes you get frightened, you see their little faces up here change to frightened mode. And we will, by the screaming, no doubt have some injuries, so we'll get into that when it comes. So, there we go. Bombs away. We're going to hit nothing. So once the bombs are all gone, we can see our targets. This being the secondary one. They're going to hit about here. It's very much a difficulty with leaving this game on autopilot. Obviously, I am doing it. There they are. It's good, actually. I like the fact that the explosions are quite graphically nice as it stands, and then there's that delay with sound speed. Obviously, a real thing. It's quite a nice touch that somebody's obviously thought about. But again, this is the problem with leaving the game to its own devices. Obviously, you're not really supposed to do that when playing the game. I'm just doing it for these purposes. So ultimately, it's not a successful sortie. As you can tell, this is much more minor than what we just come out of. I say that and I'm going to explode now, am I? Oh god, that rendering. Again, that was ominous. Yeah, okay, so that's exactly what I was talking about here, is you can see the ghost faces. It doesn't mean they've turned into ghosts. What it means is that they're in shock, because as you can tell, they've been hit by some shrapnel. And of course, the other thing you have to remember with flak is it's not about what damage is done straight away, unless you get directly hit. That sounds like a booming thud. Did we lose someone?
Fire! We got a fire up here in the nose!
Oh shit, I just went to that. So, right, fire. You can't see it so well. In fact, you can't see it at all on the screen view, but there's smoke coming from here. So, what you do is you need to tell the crew to go and... Perhaps no fire extinguisher option. First aid, no, not repair. Fire extinguisher, there we go. Nose fire extinguisher, there we go. So, this man now gets up. He's going to go grab himself a fire extinguisher. Or he's going to put the rest of the bear. There we go. And he's going to put out that fire.
Fire out!
Nice man. Nice man. So yeah, as I was saying, the component damage that can be done means that just because you're out of the active line of fire in flak doesn't necessarily mean that you are out of danger. You know, there is a very real possibility that you're going to get halfway home and stuff is going to go down. And that is hopefully what's going to happen, otherwise this is going to be not quite as interesting as I'd hoped. Yeah, and you can start to see some of the damage around the engine and the compartment. Obviously, the game's graphics aren't fantastic, what with it being a game that's 13 years old. But it's still good enough to notice. That was one of the main things about this game that was really good, was its damage modeling. So what we're going to do is we're going to start skipping ahead again, and hopefully we'll bring up some of the situations that I can talk about moral choices. Right. So this is exactly it. Now if I go back inside, I am going to find that the navigator has a bad case of the butter biscuit debts. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell our bombardier here. I've gone past it. So yes, I'm going to tell the bomb. Oh, okay. So apparently.
Okay, I'm here now.
Apparently I was a bit too slow. The crew does have its own intuition. So basically, in a time like this, where you are just flying home, the crew will go and rescue themselves, as they should do. I was going to say, this game, because it has this feature in it where your crew can get damaged and you need to save them, it has a very well done accidental moral choice system, where basically if you have a large flak field before your target, what say the bombardier gets hit and gets wounded before you get to the target, what do? Do you have someone replace him and leave him so that you have all your faculties there should the enemy attack with fighters and things to be able to try and bomb the target and the navigator dies? Do you risk going around and having even more damage to the crew and to the
Okay, guys.
Oh, he's awake now. Yeah, do you risk going around to have somebody save the navigator, save the bombardier, so that he can get back to his post to complete the bomb run, and in which case you may take more damage, you may have...
Someone take over.
Bombardier passed out. So I am going to first aid it.
I'll
Yes.
fix him up.
Yeah.
I'm here. I got you. Slow down. Now where are you?
So I'm going to stop with that analogy because every time I keep trying to go with it, somebody passes out or somebody starts shouting something. So yeah, this is exactly what I was talking about, is with the flak fields you can get injured, and it's now a good, 10-15 minutes since the initial flak blast hit this compartment, and this is them starting to really face their injuries. You have to decide if the crew are not able to. You have to decide whether
I'm okay.
to save the crew, to save the plane, to do your mission, or not. And of course, if you don't save the plane, well, that's it, it's game over. If you don't save the crew, then you get replacement rookie crew while your other ones are off in hospital or, God forbid, in the morgue. That has its own risk associated with it. If you have too inexperienced a crew, are you going to be able to hit your targets? Are you going to be able to survive encounters? How are they going to cope under stress? They do have a morale system in this. And really the whole thing adds up to, you really have to do the job of a captain. You have to care about the plane, you have to care about the crew, and when you keep doing the campaigns, you do find yourself getting really involved in it. And then you get back to base, you want to check the crew records, you want to see what medals they get, see what promotions they get, see make sure everyone's okay. And it's just in modern games you have moral choice systems built into. This doesn't. It has the situations that the games put you in, and from that, it's all just real situations. It doesn't feel like when you play games like Mass Effect and you have the obvious Paragon Renegade choice. It's all just really organic in this game, and that's one of the main attractions with it, frankly. It's not the fact that you're flying these giant beasts, it's not the fact that you're doing big bombing runs, it's the fact that you have to care about everything that's going on with the aircraft. And naturally what makes this game one of my favourites. And, you know, it will stay one of my favourites. Time skip halted, the navigator is lost. Oh, you wacky drunk. Oh, well, I suppose. That's not fair. He did get hit with a shell. In fact, judging by where those holes are, does it even still have a map? Have I crashed the game? No. Yeah, no, that's not the map I was looking for. Yeah, okay. You can see the holes. Yeah, you can see the nice hole through the window there. You do get to some points where the map and equipment are unreadable because the damage is so much that it's completely ruined the equipment, which is, you know, not an unfeasible thing. But the navigator should hopefully realise that this is England, unless we've just done a complete barrel roll and we're now back over France, back for round 2. I hope not. Oh, poor navigator's lost again. Here's our little friends doing a nice flyby.
Someone take over.
Oh, here we go, somebody else has done. Who's it this time? Oh, it's a co-pilot. I will use one of the gunners. If I can get the thing. There we go, right. So use one of the side gunners to go rescue the co-pilot. Of course, what can happen if it's in a position that needs to be used, so say the pilot gets hit and he can't fly the plane, then what happens is they will get dragged aside, like now that the tail gunner's gone, for example. Well, not the tail gunner, one of the waist gunner. I think I assigned the left waist gunner, so I can now tell the navigator to go and assume control of the left machine gun. So basically you can fill the positions as necessary, but the problem is everyone is in the positions that they are because they are specialised in that area. So assigning someone else will get the job done, but not the job done well, which has its own problems, as you can imagine, in terms of say the waist gunner has to drop the bombs, or you know, the tail gunner has to land the plane. Now I realise, having used this to show you as an example, that the navigator already lost. I have assigned him to the back of the plane, so I'm gonna return him back to the cockpit so that he can work out where the hell he is, poor man. That's another nice thing I quite like about this game, is the fact you can actually see them walking about the plane. It was
Dad, someone help me now.
oh god. He's apparently really not good at first aid, that man. So maybe else have I got that I can... Because I don't necessarily want my co-pilot dying on me.
There's something sticking in me.
Now the bad news about this
Okay, I'm here now. Let me see.
is if the co-pilot's been hit, has the pilot been hit? Because obviously if the pilot's hit and there's nobody to fly, then I cannot manual control.
Okay, guys. Nothing to see here. Okay, now. Get back to work.
Oh good, at time skip and nobody's dead and the navigator's not lost. Those eyes are kind of freaky though. Those eyes, good god. Not normally after you've been in a more dangerous mission, it's not uncommon to untime skip and have the nice warning message that an aircraft is leaving formation, to just look behind you and see one of them just plummet down into the ground with everyone jumping out. Our navigator is very much lost. I think... Right, so that's London land. I think we have possibly just passed Northampton, or God forbid we are over Birmingham. Nobody wants to be over Birmingham. I have no idea where we are. Oh great, I sound like the navigator now. At this stage, are we over Edinburgh? And this is it. This is the descent phase. We're home now. Well, doesn't mean we're safe. Of course, landing was was one of the less favourable position for the ball turret gunner, just under there. I heard, I can't remember what aircraft it was specifically, but there was a horrifying case of the hydraulics in the ball turret stopped, so he couldn't get the access port to the inside of the aircraft to get the ball turret gunner out, and they also had no hydraulics to lower the landing gear, so the pilot had no choice but to do a belly landing, and obviously the ball turret gunner was crushed to death. Horrifying way to go. Ah, there we go. Permission for landing. I'm pretty sure that landing gear is not 100% down. I'm pretty sure that kind of approach might be frowned upon in the modern day and age, but alright, I'll roll with it.
Good landing. Taxi to hard stand.
Oh god, I don't know what's happening. Apparently the aircraft have broken each other. Oh god, this has all gone terribly wrong. What's going on? Dunk. Well, that just happened. So, okay, there we go. So that was this. This, I think, just leaves showing us the route that we were supposed to take, which we obviously didn't, because Navigator got shrapnelled. So they send a reconnaissance round afterwards, and it shows you the area as you left it, which again is quite a nice touch. And as it quite clearly shows, we did nothing! We actually technically did blow up a bit of Brest, but it works out the percentage damage to the target, not the surrounding area. The fact that we hit a hill with some houses on it is negligible compared to what they're sent out to do. And then you've got the little thing, bombers lost because of derp, and then it was a complete miss. Firm losses. So two of my staff, that one being the co-pilot, that one being the bombardier. There we go, there's the bomb damage assessment. That's quite good actually. Awarded the Purple Heart. Missing crews accounted for. 10 kills in friendly territory because of derp. And I believe that's it. We can now exit the debrief. So this is the medical file. So this is now the people who are in hospital. So sustained in the first. Expected discharge in 20 days time. Return to aircraft. If I go to the crew information file, so the bombardier is currently vacant. Navigator's fine. Would the co-pilot be vacant? No, co-pilot's back. Okay, yeah, so it's just the bombardier who's a bad case of the being deads. Oh, so this I hadn't noticed before. So this is the news. I'm talking about the Eastern Theatre, and then the Pacifics. It gives you a global thing, and then it gives you the Army Air Force, and then the 8th Air Force, which is your one. Yeah, so this is quite nice, I think. This is the letter to the captain, being permission to award the Purple Heart to your co-pilot. So there we have it. That's that's one of my favourite games of all time, is this one. I guess you only really have it from my recommendation to say it stood up well to the test of time, because of all the rendering issues that are even going on here. All the rendering issues that are going on in the video. they don't appear in the game at all. Literally, the only reason I'm aware of them is because I actually have a preview of what is being recorded in my other monitor. And I can only assure you that they aren't there at all. I did have some controller issues with the mouse, but it wasn't that big a deal. If you're sticking to the B-17, then it's not really that important. And of course, it does appear that there was a bad case of AI derping. When I realised there was a problem, I should have hit the quick travel rather than the time acceleration. But nonetheless, given its age, it is 13 years old. I think it's held up quite well, and I think it's still got many hours of enjoyment left in it for people who maybe have had a few years that they've not played this, or they've never played it before. I think it's well worth a look, not just because it's a B-17, it's a simulator you can have about bombing things, but like I say, this constant organic situations that really draw you into the game. These, your crew members screaming for help, you having to make decisions. Do you save them? Do you do your mission? Do you do what's best for the aircraft, for the crew, for the country, for freedom, America, or not? And really, I guess that still has a lot of appeal for me. Having played a lot of games recently that have moral choice systems, and it's so obvious. I think Zero Punctuation puts it quite nicely that you may as well tick one box or the other at the start and just be left to play the game. But this is not like that. The moral comes from the situation, and that's something you have to decide on at the time, and it's going to be applicable. Some situations you might be cruising home and somebody drops and you think, okay, let's save him. And other times that just might not be possible. And that fact to the game makes it very enjoyable. It makes it probably more of a simulator, more of a role-playing simulator, I guess. Really draws you into it than most of the things I've played, even modern things. And yes, it's something I will continue playing. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this review. I do apologise once again for the rendering issues that appears to have happened in the screen capture. There's not really too much I can do about them. Hopefully I can whittle them down as much as possible. And if you are interested in buying the game, it's available on goodoldgames.com for $6, which is a very nice price for it. Bye bye.